G'day there guys, it's your Aussie Hubby Markee, back at it again with another r/am I the AHole video. Now if you love me like I love you, then you know what to do. I want you to tackle that like button like Steve Owen tackles big gnarly crocodiles. Maybe even chuck an Aussie flag down in the comments. Now with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some bloody good Am I the AHole content. Now our first post is by user Easton Syrup, titled, Am I the a-hole for not cooking dinner as soon as my husband was home from work? I've been laid off, but my husband is still doing essential construction. Before everything happened, our dinners 99% of the time were takeout that one of us picked up on our way home from work. Now with the current situation, we've decided that I would start cooking all dinners since I'm home all day and we need to save money. Ever since this started, he has constantly been complaining about what time we eat dinner. He gets home at around 6 PM each day, and almost every day the first thing out of his mouth is, "When's dinner?" Which is really hurtful after I've been waiting for him to come home all day and spend time with me. When he gets home from work, I like to spend at least 30 to 45 minutes talking about our day, since I get no special interaction until he's home, and then I'll get up and start making dinner. Later, he spends pretty much his entire time nagging me about what I'm gonna cook because he's been at work all day and he's starving. I always tell him I'll make it soon, but first I just want to relax and talk to him, which he usually accepts, but I can tell he's frustrated. I don't understand why it's so hard for him to just spend some time with his wife when he gets home. This past week it's gotten even worse, to the point where he keeps just trying to bypass me and go to the kitchen to make his own food, so he doesn't have to sit and talk with me first. I told him that if he makes something himself, I'm not even going to bother with dinners at all anymore. I don't know why I waste my time and energy planning and making meals for someone who is just going to be ungrateful and demanding. He said he comes home from work hungry every day, and just wants to be fed right away, while I believe that beggars can't be choosers, and he should be happy that he's getting a home-cooked meal at all. When I grew up, I wouldn't ever dare ask my parents to cook dinner on my schedule, and I don't know how he was raised to be so entitled. He told me that starting next week he's going to just start getting takeout for dinner every day again, since he can't trust me to feed him, which I think is a huge overreaction, especially considering the whole point of me cooking was to save money on takeout. Am I the a-hole, or am I right that he's just acting entitled? That's a tough one. Edit. Stop telling me to cook before he gets home. He sometimes works late, so he would just get a cold dinner. And talking while I cook doesn't really work because it's hard to have a conversation while I'm working and moving around a kitchen. Edit 2. Please read my first edit before commenting. I keep seeing people assuming I'm the jerk because I don't have dinner ready for 6 when he might not even be home then. He works late sometimes. Final edits. I just have to say I find most replies on this post to be incredibly sexist. I'm now banned for not accepting my judgment, so I can't reply anymore. But I hope one day you all find some more sympathy in your hearts. And Cubby G Throw says, You're the a-hole. You aren't working and he is. You made an agreement that as a result of this situation you're in, you will be making dinners. You want him to get home hungry at 6, talk to you for 30 to 45 minutes, and then start making dinner. Start. Which could mean another 30 minutes to an hour. So you're basically asking him to wait until at least 7 to 7:30 to eat, just because you want to sit and chat? He comes home from working out in public, on a job site, and would like to eat, which is reasonable. How pleasant can talking to a very hungry person be? If you had the meal ready at 6 when he got home, you could converse over the meal. You have the nerve to call him entitled for wanting to eat when he gets home from work on his schedule? He's not entitled at all. You agreed to do this. To address your edits, he is late sometimes. That means the majority of the time, he's there at or around 6 PM. On the chance he is late, he can text you or you can just reheat. It's very easy to reheat meals. To your final edit, most of the replies are not sexist. Regardless of the sexes or genders of the spouses in this post, the result is the same. You're the a-hole. Alright, and our next post is by DoodlyDude39, titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my mum to not have any more kids? I, 16 female, live with my parents and 11 siblings. I'm the 4th kid and the ages range from 20 to 1. We live in a 4-bedroom house, but it is so crammed with everyone in bunks and no privacy. My parents also put most of the responsibility of the younger kids on us while they lay down and watch TV. True, they can have their breaks, but they take them so often that I don't really get to be a teenager. Last night, after my mum told me to put J plus A, 3 to bed, I told her to do it herself as I need to study. She said that it is my responsibility as an older child. I lost my temper and told her that she can't take care of her 12 kids as it is, and that she should give up her dream of 15 children because she's depriving the younger ones of a better life. Am I the a-hole? TLDR, Mum has 12 kids and wants 15, and I lost my temper and said that she couldn't have any more because she can't take care of all of them as it is. Not the a-hole. Her dream is only doable with you and the older kids acting as secondary parents. You need to put your foot down and refuse to take on the role. Maybe then, she will realize her dream is not only not doable, but is affecting the quality of life of the kids she already has. Exactly. We will never get to travel or take up a sport. Info. You're 16. Do you have a part-time job outside of the home? I work part-time at McDonald's to save for college. Yay! Go OP. So yeah, by the looks of things, they're doing their best to get out of that home, and it's going well for them. Now our next post is by Acceptable Nature 1. Am I the a-hole for letting my nephew call me mum? So a while back, my brother married a woman who had an 11-year-old son named Billy. A year later, my sister-in-law gave birth to a little girl. 2 years later, she gave birth to a boy. Billy, who was 14 by this time, was treated like an outsider. My sister-in-law and brother saw him as a burden who spoiled their picture-perfect family. If you asked my sister-in-law how many kids she had, she would say 2. Billy started acting out. He got involved with a bad group of kids and started getting into trouble. He started failing all of his classes. He eventually got into drugs and was suspended from school. My brother and sister-in-law were fed up with him. I asked my brother if Billy could spend the summer with me and my husband. We have a hobby farm, and I thought maybe getting away from his life for a while could help him some. Well, they were more than happy to get rid of him, my sister-in-law's words. It was kind of rough the first few weeks. He had a lot of anger issues, but my husband kept his hand and mind busy doing work on the farm, and we both made sure that he knew he was loved and wanted. By August, he was a totally different kid. He wanted to keep living with us, but my sister-in-law insisted that he come home. After 2 months, he went back to his old ways due to his parents' indifference. They ended up sending him back to us, and he lived with us throughout high school. He ended up being an A/B student and kept up with a really good group of kids. He got involved in baseball and got a scholarship to a local university. He's 22 now and is in his last year of school. He's engaged to a really great girl. When he was 16, he started calling me mum, and he started calling my husband Pops. He never really had much to do with his mum, and he had nothing to do with my brother. He saw them on holidays when the whole family came over. His mum has tried to have a relationship with him in the past few years, but he has avoided her. On Christmas, sister-in-law was over, and for whatever reason, she opened my desk drawer and found a birthday card from Billy where he said, "To the best mum ever. Thanks for loving me and giving me a chance." She was devastated. She ended up texting Billy, confronted him, and asked him if she would be presented as mother of the groom at his wedding. He told her that he no longer considered her his mum and wasn't even sure if he wanted her at the wedding at all. My sister-in-law is now insisting that I make it clear to Billy that I am not his mother and that he is not to refer to me as such. My brother is also very upset with me. Even my parents are pressuring me to do what sister-in-law wants for the sake of peace. Honestly, I consider Billy to be my son. I count him in with all my children. I feel like telling Billy not to present me as a mother of the groom could possibly be misinterpreted as me saying that I don't feel like he's my son, and I don't even want to take a chance of that happening. If he decides to present his real mum as mother of the groom, I will 110% support him. So, am I the a-hole for not respecting my sister-in-law's wishes? Edited to add, I have zero desire to tell Billy not to call me mum, and I absolutely won't do it, because I know it would destroy him and it would kill me. My sister-in-law insists that by not doing it, I'm making it impossible for her to have a relationship with him, and I'm being selfish. I've talked to Billy about it some. He doesn't like to talk about his mum at all. He basically just said that he doesn't see her as a mum, and has for sure decided he doesn't want her at the wedding. I understand and respect that. Also, I just want to thank everyone who left such sweet comments. I've been so choked up reading them after all. Not the a-hole. She didn't even consider herself his mother. You saved this kid from a lot of rough crap he probably would have gotten into, and if he sees you as his mum, he should be allowed to call you that. Not the a-hole, girl. That's your son. Not the a-hole. She may have been your mother, boy, but she wasn't your mama. Ha! I don't know what movie that's from. Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Okay. I haven't watched it, sorry guys. Not the a-hole. Billy is 22 and clearly knows who he considers to be his parents. You took him out of a bad situation and gave him a second chance, and you did it twice. As for the wedding, does Billy have to present anyone as his mother? If he wants to, of course, he should. Maybe he should also have an honest talk with his biological mother and your parents about how he was treated and why he considers you and your husband his parents. Righto guys, our next post is by Throwaway for BGG5B. Would I be the a-hole if I, 24 male, stopped cooking for my 24 female girlfriends? I've been with my girlfriend, S, for 4 years. Living together for 2. Of the start of the relationship, I knew she was a picky eater. We would go to fancy restaurants and she would order the simplest things, or the same things over and over. It seemed weird to me, but I didn't really care. She can do whatever she wants. I only realized how annoying this is when we moved in together. Now I, on the other part, I'm the opposite. I like to try new foods, new tastes, and get a better idea of food in general. I also love cooking and have a culinary arts degree. I wanted to become a chef, but I didn't for other reasons. So you can assume that I do almost all the cooking at home. You can see where this is going. Only when I started cooking for S did I realize how much of a picky eater she is. She hates almost everything, even if she can't really taste it in the end product. To give you some examples, she hates cinnamon, she hates garlic, she hates any kind of spice, clove, nutmeg, etc. Yesterday, I was making a Spanish omelette, and she complained when I added the tiniest pinch of thyme in there. Because of all the ingredients I put in there, she is going to taste a pinch of thyme. I made a white chocolate mousse, and she complained when I laid it with Oreos and strawberries because she apparently doesn't like Oreos. No amount of zest can go into our food, whether that be orange or lemon zest, because it apparently tastes bitter. She hates spicy food. She only eats steaks or whatever well done. If there's the tiniest amount of pink in there, it's raw. I've destroyed so many good steaks in the past cooking them well done. I could go on about this she doesn't like, but we'd be here all day. Last night she asked me to cook dinner, but I refused. When she asked why, I explained that it's frustrating to cook for a person with the taste buds of a 5-year-old, and that she can order takeout from now on. So Reddit, would I be the a-hole if I stopped cooking for her? Not the a-hole. I'm not as picky as this, but I'm a similarly picky eater. I do my best to make my own meals, even microwave meals when I can. When I can't, I'm relatively young, my parents expect me to eat what they've made, and I either pick around the stuff I'm not fond of, or I just suck it up and skip. It blows my mind that there are picky people who bring others down like that. Righto, and our next post is by user accountforthrow223, titled, Am I the a-hole for publicly revealing who my biological parents are on Facebook and kind of messing things up for them? I was given up for adoption when I was a baby by my parents who were 19 years old. Due to reasons, I was taken from my adoptive parents and put in foster care when I was 11, and remained in the system until I went to college. When I turned 18, I was given my mother's contact information by someone. I found out she was married to my biological father. They had public profiles on Facebook and Instagram. I ended up messaging my mother, who never responded. I then tried to message my father, who basically replied saying that he's sorry, but they would rather not have me in their lives. That it took them a while to grieve over giving me up, and that they don't want to go through all that pain again. Well, at this point I got pretty ticked, because I think it's kinda crappy they think they can prevent me from knowing the rest of my family. I ended up messaging my grandmother, my mother's mum, who was actually happy to know me. I met her in person and we really bonded. I also have 2 younger siblings, but I didn't contact them after what my father said. Well, 4 months ago, I saw my father's post of a picture of them at some church event and say, "My beautiful wife and our 2 amazing kids." This was on their church Facebook page. This is probably wrong, but I replied with a comment saying, "Don't you mean 3 kids?" I didn't really expect the amount of people responding to that as I did. There were a bunch of people my parents knew that started asking questions. I freaked out and deleted my comment. Oh no, OP doesn't know what they've done. So can of worms have been opened up. Then I started getting DMs from people, including people I was related to. Later that day, my grandmother made a post confirming I was a child given up for adoption. So now I started making connections with some extended family and have been to a few family parties. My parents have been told they aren't invited unless they can accept me, which they haven't. The whole drama has kind of messed up with their lives and business. My parents are now apparently separated. I don't really accept that as my fault. Am I the a-hole for doing what I did? I almost don't want to read this comment and skew what the community thought, but I'm gonna do it anyway because this got upvoted and given so many awards. Yes, you're the a-hole. You intentionally disrespected their wishes. I get it. It sucks. I was put up for adoption myself, and even went through a failed adoption too. But that doesn't mean you get a pass on crapping on their wishes like that. That was pretty much the worst way you could have gone about things. You could have quietly started reaching out to people who seemed related to them through private messages. It isn't your fault that they seem to have separated, but it is a total jerk move what you did. You're the a-hole because of how you went about things, not because you wanted to know your family. Edit. I find it interesting how many people aren't considering how odd it is that literally no one in their family knew about the OP, not even the maternal grandmother. How so few people are thinking here, how exactly did 2 19-year-old kids get pregnant and give a child up and even their parents didn't know? What kind of relationship did they have with their families that they had to keep something like that a secret? Why couldn't they depend on their family for support? But no, they were all, how dare they not want a relationship with that child now? And congrats on finding a loving family. Where was this loving family when 2 19-year-old kids felt that the best option for their child was to give them up for adoption? It's not easy to keep a full-term pregnancy a secret from family who actually cares about you. So the fact that they did? Maybe there was a good reason for it. And now I feel bad. I feel like, the parents and the family probably were bad, but we don't have any information, so who knows? Alright, and our next post by Spicy as a Baguette, titled, "Am I the a-hole for not letting my sister see her kids?" So I, 28 female, obtained custody of my sister's 35 female kids, 9 male, 4 female, 2 female, back in 2018 after she left them alone for 2 weeks to go on a trip. Red drug bender. Of course, this was a huge transition for the kiddos. They had to be moved schools and daycares, and of course couldn't see their mum anymore. Now the kids are doing better and definitely lead happier lives. Recently though, my sister was released from prison and wants to see the kids again. She called me, begging to have a visit with them, and telling me that I could give them back because she was out of prison now. I've had a talk with the 9-year-old, and he says that he doesn't want to see his mum yet, and that he still hates her for leaving him alone. The girls have no memories of her, and the smallest one was only 3 months old the last time she saw her. I do feel like I could have helped them foster a better relationship with her, but I don't want to force the oldest into meeting her when he absolutely doesn't want to. Still, my close family has told me that the oldest doesn't know what he's talking about, and it's my fault the little ones don't remember their mother because I didn't take them to see her when she was in prison. They also told me that it's my responsibility to force them to meet her, even when they don't want to, because that's what's best for them, and they shouldn't grow up without their mother. So, am I the a-hole? Edit. I have spoken to a professional about this, specifically the oldest therapist. They have advised that I should be up to him. I just want to know if I'm being a jerk to my sister. Also, I have adopted the kids and have complete full custody of them. Not the a-hole. I'm not a child psychologist, but despite what your mother says, it's possible that it could actually be bad for them to see their biological mum, your sister, but you are definitely not an a-hole. Not the a-hole. I am a therapist who has worked with kids in CPS family reunification and permanent foster placement / adoption. Please listen to the oldest's therapist and your nephew. He trusts you to keep him safe after all he has been through. If you go against his wishes, this could cause him and his sisters irreparable harm. Your family is invested in maintaining a family unit, not making sure that these kids have the best care. If there is any entitlement from their mum, then she is not ready for a visit or anything. If she is truly ready to make amends, then she will wait for him to be ready, earn everyone's trust, etc. If she isn't ready to do the work or acknowledge the impact of her actions, then no dice. Please protect them, even if it means going against the rest of the family's wishes. ETA. Wow, didn't expect this to blow up. My first awards. So honored. Someone asked below what should OP look for if bio parents were serious about wanting to make things right. They would respect oldest child's and OP's feelings / boundaries, be willing to work with the oldest child's therapist if appropriate, be willing to participate in supervised visitation, if son willing, be willing to participate in a recovery program, not just starting dry, not using, but really investing and participating in getting sober. This would be a start. Again though, the child has to be ready. Rightio, and our next post is by Substantial Horror 0. Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend she should find outfits like the ones my brother's girlfriend wears? Bro, come on. My brother is almost 2 years younger than me, but we are pretty close. His girlfriend is his age and a nice person, and she makes my bro happy. There are absolutely no feelings towards her or weird intentions from me. This argument between me and my girlfriend happened a while ago, before quarantine, when we were still able to see each other, and she hasn't really brought it up since then and seems to be over it. But I'm wondering if I was in the wrong, because I still don't think I was at all, and it's still bugging me. So my girlfriend has nice taste, and she has decent clothing, but she doesn't really shop at any particular stores. Most of her clothes are from Amazon, and rather randomly selected. She used to wear a lot of tomboy kind of clothes, like graphic shirts that were too big and baggy jeans. But that's changed now because I called her out on it. And I think she's able to find clothes that fit her better and kind of flatter her more. For context, she's kind of short and petite, so finding clothes that can fit can be a challenge for her, since most outfits marked as S or even XS tend to still be too big on her. This is relevant because my brother's girlfriend is about the same size as my girlfriend. I think my brother's girlfriend's clothes look really nice, and I've asked a few times where she got that outfit or where she buys her clothes from, because I think they'd look good on my girlfriend. Then I'd say to my girlfriend, hey, you should shop at X store, because that's where my brother's girlfriend gets her clothes. In fact, I'll take you there sometime. I did this maybe a handful of times. One time, we were all at my house, and I thought the pants that my brother's girlfriend was wearing looked nice. So I asked where she got them, and she said X store. So I went to the living room where my girlfriend was, and said basically what I wrote above. This time she got kind of snappy and said, I get it, okay? And I felt something was wrong, so I asked her if she was upset. And she couldn't really seem to explain why she was annoyed. She just told me that she felt like I didn't like how she dressed. I tried to explain that I didn't feel that way at all, but it didn't seem like she was buying it. Was I a jerk? My friends seem pretty divided on the issue. Edit, and to the people messaging me saying I must be gay for caring about clothes, I think that says more about how you view your masculinity than it does about me. You're the a-hole. I'm just curious how many other things you want to change about your girlfriend before she will finally be the person you want to date. Oof. And our last one for today by Gem7118, titled, Am I the a-hole for not taking one of my 3 kids on holiday? I have 3 kids, 14, 11, and 6. Me and their dad divorced 5 years ago. 3 years ago, I met my current partner, who is fantastic and the kids love. We've bought a house and there's lots of happiness. My ex was a narcissist. The world owes him everything and his multiple affairs are why we split. When I met my current partner, he kicked off and middle child went to live with him. Long story, however, not my choice. Lawyers, social work, etc. couldn't do anything, and if he was happy, I was happy. The ex has been disgruntled for years because I do have a good job, house and happy relationship. He's unemployed, living with the woman he had the affairs with and her kids, who he openly dislikes. The only way he can get to me is the kids, specifically middle one who hasn't been close to his dad, as the other two don't entertain it. Middle child, due to living with his dad, is slowly turning into him. I can't do right for doing wrong, he is treated the same as the other two. But due to being the king of the castle at his dad's, this isn't good enough. Contact is ruled by an 11-year-old, even though I have court orders for access. X encourages him not to come and promises the world. It's getting increasingly frustrating as I send the two others every week as agreed. And the middle child is a no-show, unless there's something in it for him, e.g. a birthday, Christmas, an event where he'll get more here than he would at his dad's. This weekend, things came to a head when it was the oldest child's birthday and the middle one decided he would come for the day, act horribly because it wasn't his day specifically, and left early because the barbecue was over. He made the others cry. After he left, I cried. It's a horrible situation. Next year, we've booked a holiday to Disney World, Florida. This is not a cheap holiday from the UK, and likely a once-in-a-lifetime one for us all. We booked for all 3 kids. However, due to the middle child's attitude, not only with me, but with my partner and the other 2 kids, I'm considering not taking him. It's not in any way that I don't want him to come, but I don't want the holiday ruined for everyone because of his attitude and new self-entitlement. Long story short, would I be the a-hole if I don't take one of my 3 kids on the family holiday? Edit. For info, none of them know about the holiday yet. We booked at the start of the year and plan on telling them at Christmas time. Mainly so we didn't have 18 months of being asked how long till the holiday. His attitude has really flipped since February. I've tried sitting him down and explaining he will be treated the same. He agrees he has a good time here. He's happy here, but feels guilty leaving his dad. After this chat, I sat down with X and explained how he's affecting middle child. X has now ramped up his assholery and encouragement that the middle child can do what he wants with no consequences, which isn't how I work. I'm all for fair, I don't speak badly about his dad. I don't play games for him to want to come to see us. I completely understand that it's his dad's doing, but it's exhausting. Edit. Thank you for all the responses. I've changed from Disneyland to Disney World, apologies. Also, middle child sees a counselor through school, as does oldest. X would not attend other counseling I arranged or take middle one. This is something that's being addressed. It's just harder currently due to lockdown, as is the lawyer side of things. Once the country is up and running again, I'll push a bit harder. This one's hard for me because the kid's 11. I feel like the kid at 11 doesn't know, enough about his actions, I guess. I don't feel like you're old enough at 11 to understand that you're being manipulated by a stupid parent. If he was 16, I would be for it, because it's like, yo, this is a tough love, you understand. You are old enough to understand the both sides here. But I don't know, I think in this situation for me personally, the mum is a bit of the a-hole, but at least they're working on it, it's good to see. What do you guys think about this situation? Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this one today. This has been Markee. Hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to. Tell me what you've been up to, and I'd love to see you in the next episode. Bye!